Hello and welcome back to my channel. This is training footage from week 6, which I just finished. Actually, it was more than a couple days ago. At the time of me going through my footage, I'm currently starting my last block leading up to nationals. Technically, most of my lifts from this week and the week before were considered rep PRs. This was probably the hardest set for me in terms of intensity for bench on my primary bench day for this whole block. Usually you want to have details.
Yeah, just text her and be like, hey, what are we actually doing?
I'm getting more grant content because they demanded more grant content.
They want kicked up daddies, I'm telling you. You should upload a video that's just his setups and not the actual work.
Like 10 setups.
Just like Grant highlight reel and it's just his setups and like the butt wiggles and stuff.
So that was some grant content for those of you who requested it after my last video. I believe this is also a sumo pause PR because I don't think I have paused 165 before. This is actually probably my hardest exercise for deadlifts. As a reward, after I do 3 sets of these, I get to do my triples. And the triples for this week and the last week were PR triples for me, so that was pretty exciting. I've been giving more thought to my setup for deadlift. It's a little bit different than the other lifts because you're pulling from the ground from a dead stop, but I've been a little bit more intentional with reaching towards the bar, thinking about where my hips are before I start the pull, and I think that's been helping. Then there's also weeks where, following this week, my hips kind of felt like all over the place, and I don't know if it's because the sudden drop in intensity from the heaviest lifts I've ever done in my life to now what are easier lifts for me made me feel a little bit out of whack. But the week after this, deadlifts weren't hard necessarily, but they just didn't feel as smooth as this week was. This might also be a conventional PR. This is kind of an accessory lift for me, and at this point my hands are super tired, like the skin hurts, and so locking out is something I've been trying to be better with this block. However, I think my hands are just super beat up and tired at this point. But I'm really thinking about finishing the movement, getting my hips through, and making it as if it would be a legal competition deadlift. This is 140 kilos for 3, and definitely never have tripled anything more than this for squats in my life. And the way that prep has been going, I've been hitting a good amount of rep PRs, but I don't get super excited about them because, for example, the week leading up to this one, the triple wasn't really hard. And so even if it's like, oh, this is what used to be my like opener or even like second attempt lift, now doing it for triples, it doesn't really make me like super duper duper excited because it's not that hard. So I think this is a sign that prep is going well. The things that are hard are these back off squats. That is 135 for 6, and I'm doing this 5 times, and that is way harder than the PR triples that I'm doing. Going into the last block, I'm going to continue keeping my squats pretty high volume for the primary and secondary days, and I'm really hoping that this goes okay because I remember last meet I felt like my body was so exploded by the last week before the meet that I still felt a little bit of fatigue. So, I'm a little bit nervous about that, but even more so, I'm nervous about the squat single that I'll be attempting, because the volume, I think, helps prepare me to get stronger overall, but the singles, when it's, you're cut and you're like gut cutted and you're fatigued at the end of the block, like that's what gets me more nervous. So these pause deadlifts are a really unexciting set, but something happened that day that I think tweaked my hamstring, and so that was almost the end of the block. This currently that we're looking at is the last day. So these pause squats that were 2 days after my hamstring tweak day, I could kind of feel it in my right leg at the bottom of the squat. So it made me kind of hesitant to descend because I could feel it stretch, and it just feels kind of tight. It kind of feels like a rubber band that is stretching but doesn't really want to, so you're kind of hesitant about stretching it. But it didn't get worse, and since then it's been getting better every day. I don't know what happened. I think my body might just be kind of beat up because those pause deadlifts were actually pretty easy. So hopefully that goes away pretty soon. I've had random adductor unhappy days, and that tends to last maybe a week or so, and I can continue lifting through it, and it doesn't really feel worse, but it does take a really long time to warm up. Overall, I'm pretty happy with how training is going. Kind of curious to see how things will go as my volume starts to get pulled back and things start to get heavier. My body weight is currently about 129 to 130 still. I had some weight fluctuations where it kind of went up by a couple pounds and then it came down, but I think that was due to hormonal reasons, and so hopefully as I start to cut, things will be a little bit more smooth. I've been a little bit more consistent with my weight tracking as cutting time approaches. So as I was going through the footage on my phone, I realized that other than training and work, I haven't really done much this block, but I have some clips of otters, and I wanted to share them with you because I got super excited. So you might want to put this on mute if you don't want to hear me oohing and aahing for the next 2 minutes.
水还蛮浅，因为它 rock 都可以跑出来，是不是？哦 ，skipping。在那里 floating。
啊！
它有在吃。
Yeah，它在吃。你看到它在。
你有看到它？
Yeah，我可以把它推进来。
Oh, I couldn't see the detail. Oh, yeah. You saw something you've been wanting to.
Noodles.
Birria. That's the first time I've seen birria.
Tapatio, kimchi ramen, sriracha.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I got it. Okay. It's, I got it.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Who am I?
Yeah. What is going on?
If you've made it this far, I thank you for watching. I will probably make another update video before the meet. And if you're going to the Arnold this weekend, I hope you have a lot of fun. To not experience FOMO this year because last year was so fun, we are going back to Monterey actually because Grant has a conference and I'm just going to tag along. So Hope you enjoyed this video. Leave any comments or questions in the comment box below, and I'll talk to you next time.